What's going on, everyone? I'm gonna back this up so you guys can see me. Okay. Might want to do it a little bit higher. Let's do this. One sec, I'll be right back. I'm gonna bring you guys up a little bit. Just need to find something that I can put you guys on. Or we'll do this. You guys are gonna sit on top of a Tissot box. That's where I got my first watch. I'm gonna put you guys on top of this. Boom, boom. There you go, that should be better. There you go. Alright. Let me get up close. Close and personal with you. Alright. Thanks for tuning back in, everybody. My name is Nick. Everybody calls me Feeney. And this is The Feeney Show. This week in particular, I wrote down a couple of things that I want to go through just to talk to you guys, get you guys all caught up on what I've been doing this past week. It's a massive, massive, massive week for me. Had a lot of fun. I got a chance to celebrate with my parents and my family this year for New Year's Eve, which was super fun. Got a chance to eat dinner with my whole family on New Year's Eve. Got a chance to, go out with some of my buddies, which was really fun. We went back down to Emporium, which was an arcade bar, which if you've been to any of my prior videos, I know I only have one other one, but if you've been to it or you checked it out, I talked about it just a little bit before. It's a arcade type of bar. It's a really good date idea for any of you guys trying to take a girl out. I think it's really fun. So me and my buddies all went over there. After we went there, we went to the place right next to it called Slippery Slope. And then from Slippery Slope, so if you're looking at it, it's Emporium. We walked over to Slippery Slope, then from Slippery Slope walked about 2.5 blocks, believe north towards the Owl, and then when we hit the Owl, we went in there for a while. There was a 4 a.m. bar. Funny story, actually. I'll tell you this real quick. So I was with a bunch of people that I did not know. It's the first time ever meeting them, so it was like 8 or 9 girls, and then like 4 dudes, me, my buddy, and then 2 other guys that I met. They're pretty cool, so shout out to you guys. But we were walking from, which one was it? Slippery Slope all the way over to the Owl. Once we got to the Owl, I noticed there was a massive line. Like, here's the door. The line was all the way down the block. So I look to my left. I'm like, nah, not waiting this line. So I'm standing by the front. I see the bouncer. I see he's a little flustered because there's a lot of people trying to get in at the same time. So what I did was I did this so smoothly. I was standing right by the door. There was this girl who was trying to get in right before me, and she's standing there trying to argue with the bouncer. And so what I did, it's all about confidence, guys. When I was there, I was just acting confident as if like I was already in the line. And I was like, yo, who is this girl? She's got to go to the back of the line. And then the bouncer goes, yeah, sorry, miss, you got to go to the back. And then kicks her to the back of the line. And then there was one guy in front of me at that point who gave his license, as an ID to go in. And then I gave mine to the bouncer. He goes, yeah, you're good. Walk straight into the bar after the rest of the entire group, all the girls, all the guys walk down to the very end. And then once I'm in the bar, I'm there by myself, so I'm lit, right? Like, I'm trying to have a good time. So I walk over to the bar, try to get a drink. Everybody's moving and dancing and whatever. So I just, smooth talk with some dudes that are standing right by the bar. I'm like, hey, what's going on, guys? You mind if I slide in here to get a drink? They're like, we're trying to hold down the spot, but if you want one, we'll just, call for her and then bring her over here and then, just pay for your drink. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So I'm talking to these 2 guys for a good, 20 minutes as my buddies are coming in, and then there's some girls next to them. So I'm talking and chatting up to them, and then I mingle all of the groups together, which was pretty fun. And then finally my guys and girls get in, and so we're just this one massive group now of 20 people. So we're in there having a good time. You know, I had a great time. It was really fun. But that's just a side note to everything. Let's get down to business. Why you're here today. Thumbnail of the video is going to be titled Ways to Change Your Self-Image, okay? This is super, 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 I cannot emphasize, super important, okay? Your self-image tells everything about you, okay? If you, for example, let's do this scenario-wise, okay? So let's say this. Let's say you're in high school, okay? Because this is what it's going to be tailored towards. I would assume my audience is going to be mostly kids in high school because as a teacher, that's the audience I'd like to captivate, and then anybody else who's older that also wants to share their input or wants to watch these videos to kind of compare and correlate their experiences in high school or going into college and give any advice in the comments for these high school students. That's kind of what this is tailored towards. So my audience, who I'm going to be talking to, like if I'm talking eye to the camera here, I'm thinking I'm talking to high schoolers, okay? So just want to establish that. But let's put this into a scenario now. So let's say you're in high school, right? Let's say you're a CPS student, okay? And for those of you who aren't really aware of CPS, it's pretty rough, okay? I'm not going to glorify it or glamify it. It's very difficult as far as the curriculum being taught, the student body, the support from administration and the principals, the support from the staff, the support from the parents, the support from just other kids in the classrooms. It's so difficult to watch these kids grow up in these environments because a lot of them are, and from my experiences, I worked over, I won't say the high school. Yes, I will. Because I had a really good experience. And shout out to Coach Brewer. He was the one who set me up with this, student observation hours, and he killed it. I so much credit to you. Thank you if you're watching this. But anyways, the school is Senn High School, Nicholas Senn High School, it's right by Edgewater, past Peterson. For those of you who are familiar with the high school, I loved it. I personally loved it, okay? Even though I had a couple of rough experiences there, I still really loved the school as a whole. I saw that there was some hope there, right? And I think that, CPS high schools, and this is a good high school, right? A good CPS high school on the north side. Now, as opposed to some of those on the south side, which if you guys are familiar with Chicago, the south side is icky. That's me being really, really nice and not swearing in front of you guys because I was taught to not swear in front of people. It looks bad. But, yeah, it's pretty rough out there. And it's a big difference, right? The support out there there is no support at all. Whereas opposed to here in the northern, part of the city, there is a little bit of support. But to the point is, there's a lot of students at Senn High School that I did through my observation hours that were very lost as people, very confused. A lot of students were, how do I want to put this? A lot of students were very, I want to say it politically correctly because if I don't, I know I'm going to get ridiculed for it. But a lot of students there were very questioning of themselves, if you guys understand what I'm saying when I say that. If you don't, try to infer based off of the context clues. But a lot of students did not really care to be at school. A large majority of the population there was either African American, Latino, Latina, sprinkled in with a little bit of Caucasian, and yeah, that's some Asian, some Filipino. Trying to think if there's anything else that I missed on. No, that's pretty much there's probably some others that I'm missing, but a little Indian there too. But regardless, it's a school where a decent amount of students are lost. You do have a decent amount going to college, going to JUCO. Some are still playing sports at the next level. Some are even playing at a decent level, like D2 schools, for sports and stuff like that. But just even walking through the hallways is a part of my experience. A lot of the students are just standing around in the hallways, acting like gangbangers. Like they just want to stand around and do nothing and post up on the corners of these halls. They're just, catcalling girls as I'm walking by. And it's, as a student observer, it's so upsetting to me to see something like that. And as much as I want to be a change for those students, it's very difficult for me to do that because it's just so much discipline to a student who's not going to necessarily listen unless you really touch that kid's soul. And to do that, you gotta have it. I feel like you gotta have an experience with him that is like no other, that makes him or her realize like, wow, this guy really cares about me and he really wants to see me do well, and I really have to do it myself. Like that's very challenging. And for all of my teachers out there that are current teachers, because I'm not a current teacher right now, I'm still working through my master's program. I do my student teaching in December, and I've done a lot of student observation hours. I've also done a little bit of teaching, so I can say I have taught, yes, but I have not. I haven't started the actual career of teaching, right? So I don't know everything like a vet would that's been in the career for 20 years, right? But I still have the beginning experiences that I'm sharing with you guys as I go down this path of being an education major and wanting to improve the school system and wanting to see these kids do well and wanting to be a good mentor for these kids that don't have that for them. Because a lot of these kids at Sen High School don't have the father figure that they need. And when you try to discipline somebody else's kid, it's a little difficult sometimes because then you get a lot of backlash from the parents because they can't discipline them at their own house, because they're doing whatever with their own lives. And I'm not saying this is for every single kid at Sen, right? You got your handful here that are probably neglected in the house, and then you have your handful here that are probably, okay. They live okay, and their parents are doing what they need to do to see their kids succeed. And then you have that middle group here, which is a little bit of both of this group and this group, right? So just kind of going based on that, and now that you guys have a gist of what I'm trying to explain, I want to let you know, like, self-image for these high school students, for any of you watching, it's super important. And for any adult that's also watching, you understand that that's also very important, right? So if you're going to school every single day, your pants are sagged, you're wearing a belt, but I could still see your butt, and then you're wearing, designer tees that are, off-branded or that are repping something of a gang, and you have a hat and it's turned like this, right? Your hygiene is, you don't have any, sense of personal hygiene. You're late to school, you're not doing your work, you're causing disruptions in the classroom, you're messing with other students who's trying to learn and progress in their own career. Like, all of these things lead to somebody's self-image being poor, and then that also comes with a lot of negative consequences, right? So for somebody who does things like that, that's probably because that person doesn't really feel highly of themselves, or they have a lot of trouble at home. And for those kids who have the trouble at home that can't get that help, but then, act certain types of ways at school, it's so difficult to judge that student, because I personally believe that nobody in this world is a bad person. That's just what I believe. Now, do I believe they're bad people? Yes, but that's because I'm a firm believer that there's some event or events that have occurred in people's lives that make them bad people, and then once they become a bad person, there's some to the extreme that are just ridiculous, and then there's some that you can still touch, because at the end of the day, these kids are in high school, right? So there's a group of people that I feel like if they have a little bit more guidance from me or from any other teacher, that's a current teacher. I mean, prove me wrong, but I think that a majority of teachers are in the profession to not only be the teacher, but to be the mentor for students, because they actually give a shit about the students. They care about their students. They want to see them do well. And I mean, you can hear it in my voice. It really makes me upset because so many of these students nowadays at these CPS schools give up on themselves so early in life. And one of my teachers over at DePaul University, his name is Eric Johnson, great teacher. I really learned a lot from you, so thank you. He brought in two teachers on one of our class meeting days over in the Lincoln Park campus, and I got the perspective of a first-year teacher, and I got the perspective of a vet. And when I mean this guy was a vet, this guy was a vet. Just the way he carried himself was so professional, so good. And the way that I bet he is as a teacher, based off of his personality, was amazing. He was telling me these like cool stories about how he's just being himself, right? Being himself and changing these kids to want to be in his classroom. And it's funny, and I can give you a little insight to him so maybe you understand what I'm saying about this guy. He was telling me, he goes, and the whole class, he goes, yeah, teaching for me is all about just giving a shit about the students. And he says, for the black kids that I have in my classes, they call me Mr. J. Or they go, hey, yo, what up, Jay Jizzle? Or they'll say stuff like that. And to me, at first, I'm like, oh, that's not your name. But to him, as the teacher, he's building ground with the students because they're giving him a nickname, right? They actually like the guy. They want to be in his classroom, right? And for him and his personality and the way he carries his class, he's the teacher at all times. The students know that, but they also know that they can go to him and feel comfortable in his classroom. So that, to me, it made me learn a lot because it's eye-opening to understanding that people of different cultures and different backgrounds that have different experiences will tend to act certain ways around people. And just understanding where people come from and getting to know kids on a personal level is so important as a teacher. And that's something I've learned while going through this program and learning from my clinical hours, student observation hours. Is that you gotta give a shit. You just do. And if you don't, you're in the wrong profession. You just are. Because you can't not care about the students and still think you're gonna get some ground with them, that if you just go in and you straight lecture every day. I've had teachers like that all they do is lecture, and that sucked for me because I have ADHD. And so for me as a student, to be able to sit down and just write notes all day and then go home, study, and then take a test, that sucks. Like, what? It doesn't show me that you care about me. I'm just here to do a class, write down, my name on a piece of paper, take a test, and that's it. Like, that's not fun, right? Me as a teacher, I want to be something of like my uncle. My Uncle Chuck, that's his name. He's my mentor. He's probably my biggest mentor as a person and as a teacher, right? And excuse me, I'm gonna take a sip of this Gatorade. He's a big mentor for me, okay? He has been someone that students look up to and can go to for any type of advice because the way he is he is a very strict teacher, very strict, but he is also so loose at the same time. He can be so cool, but yet so grounded in his teaching that he's able to balance both perfectly. And his students, I have never had a student of his that I might know or come around that ask me for my last name, and then when they say that, they correlate it with him, be like, oh, I hated your dad, or I hated your uncle. No, never. It's always been, yo, you're Feeney? You're Mr. Feeney's nephew? Oh my gosh, I love Mr. Feeney. He was so cool with me. Like, man, he was the best, and He made me want to do this. He made me want to do that. Like, that's the teacher I'm going to be. And that's the teacher I'm aspiring to be. Because my calling from God is to be a leader. I'm a natural born leader. Ask anybody that I've played soccer with. Sorry, anybody I played football with, but here it's soccer. But anybody I played football with will tell you, I was a leader, natural born leader. I was always the captain of the teams that I was on. I always got the best out of the people I was around because I know what it takes to be great. I know what it takes to get yourself from here, which is great, here's average, and here's below the bar, and then here's the fucking next level of being excellent. And I know what it takes to get there, but it's a mental toughness that a lot of people don't have, that if you just push yourself just a little bit more, you get there. And I've always been I should say a firm believer, not a strong believer, firm, because it's more of an action, right? It's so important for people to be able to wake up in the morning every single day and say, hey, today's going to be a good day. I'm going to kill it and I'm going to do well. And if I mess up today, I'm going to learn from it. I'm not just going to let it defeat me. Because I've done that in the past where I let things defeat me and then I get down on myself and it's pointless, right? You just got to keep it pushing. You got to keep the train going, right? It's like any sport, and the reason that I refer to sports or any type of activity where it's you're on a team, it is so important for people is because if you are the one part that's holding people back, man, they're gonna get on you. They're gonna get mad at you. So you gotta hold your weight, right? But that means that if you're doing something incorrectly, that you gotta push yourself to get there. That way, everybody else on the team will be right there along with you. And everybody has their own individual battles that they face with themselves, and so do you. But you got to make it happen, right? You gotta be result oriented and driven. So that's just a little rant on that. But anyways, back to the main point of the video: self-image. It's just so big to me because I've been through it all. As an athlete, my entire life, my self-image was I'm an athlete. I just play football. I love football. Oh, that's Feeney. He's the football player. Oh, he's going to football. He's going to training today. He's not coming to the party because he's got to go train. He's got a game. He's got a match tomorrow. Oh, Feeney's gonna skip out on the end of the year with all of our class. For like whatever because he has a game tomorrow. Oh, he's gonna be in St. Louis for this because he's playing St. Louis Scott Gallagher on Sunday. He's flying out to Florida because they got a tournament out there they got to play in, and so he's not going to be here to have fun with us and drink and go out and blah 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 blah. And that's been me my whole life, right? It's all I know. That's all I know is football. When I was born, I had a soccer ball, and I'm going to say soccer ball because some people again at my foot. I came here to the U.S. with a football. And that was it, and my parents. So, of course, the only thing that I'm going to know from the time I was a kid was playing footy. That's it. Now that I had that stripped from me after I had my 5th surgery when I was at the Division I level, I had to refocus myself onto a different path. That path was teaching. I knew it the whole time. I was at school when I was at Bradley because I wanted to go play pro ball. My goal originally wasn't to be a teacher. But I knew it was going to happen if I needed a backup. And I was going to go get my master's. But originally, I just wanted to go play pro. That was my dream. And I was that close. And for all of the doctors out there that ever told me that I couldn't do it, that my knee was going to bust before I even got to college, before high school even, some doctors told me, proved you wrong. Proved you wrong. My knee was supposed to stop functioning at the level that I was playing at when I was. One doctor told me 18 after I got my first surgery. He said, "Yeah, 18 years old, end of high school." He said, "There's no way you're playing in college." I got my patella ligament redone by Brian Fordside, who is the USA soccer. He does the men's team. he's the head of the surgeon department for that team, and so I got connected with him through, you know, I have connections through soccer, right? I've played a lot of soccer. I've played a lot of footy. I've built a lot of connections. Is what I'm trying to say. He, you know, did a great job on my knee, but he was just being honest with me. He told me, Nick, man, I don't know if you're gonna make it. Not because you're not good enough, but because your knee might not hold up. It popped out of the socket 12 times before you even, you know, got this first surgery. And now I'm taking a cadaver of a patella ligament and putting it in your knee. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But for your sake, he told me, push it. He said, push it to the max. And if it busts on you and your knee breaks, that's on you. But he said, I just want to be clear that that's your decision. But I'm supporting you the full way. I such a good surgeon, probably one of the best surgeons I ever got connected with, and I've had a lot of good surgeons, you know, go into my knee and fix it up. I've had Dr. Cole, who is Brian Cole, who's look him up. Works for Rush. Dude is he's at the top of his class for knee surgeries. You know, he's invented surgeries. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. But he's been in there. A couple other people have been in there. But regardless, to the point, you know, that's all I knew was soccer. That was my self-image, right? And then when I got it stripped from me when I was at the Division I level and I couldn't go pro anymore, and I had to break up with the game that I loved, I had to reconvene, and that's what I did. And now, when everybody looks at me, they go, "Oh, Feeney? Oh, Mr. Feeney. That's the teacher." I love it. I love it. Being called Mr. Feeney and Coach Feeney is just like, wow. I'm taking that next step from being the player that I knew I could, that I always was, that was, you know, always on the field, just playing, loving the game, just enjoying life, to now I'm working my ass off. I'm working my ass off to get this master's degree, a master's. Imagine that. There was a time and day where I was told by people I wouldn't even go to college, let alone get my fucking master's degree. So this in itself right here is just a testament to my character and my hard work. And then to be called Coach Feeney too, and to see these kids do well, oh my gosh. It's I'll tell you what, it's 10 times, 50 times, 100 times more fulfilling than me ever playing will be, because I get to make an impact on other people. And that's what I've always wanted to do. And that, I think, is God's calling for me, is to just be somebody for other people that they can look to, trust, build relationships with, and then advance in their own careers. And then hopefully one day one of them becomes rich and comes back to me and gives me a little bit of money, which would be great because teachers don't get paid the most. Okay? But yeah, so just points of emphasis for this video. I'm just going to go over it one more time. Self-image, very important. Low self-image is going to lead to things, and I wrote some things down here. You know, you're going to have bad mental health, bad outlook, you know, towards other people. If people see you act in a certain type of way, or they see you dress a certain type of way, they're going to assume things about you. Whether that's right or wrong is a whole different story, but they're going to assume things about you, okay? You know, you're going to have low self-esteem. You're going to have no confidence or very low confidence in yourself and your ability because of the way that you're acting and you're carrying yourself. And then, you know, it's going to probably lack your social ability, because if you're dressed a certain type of way and you're acting a certain type of way, you're going to attract other certain types of people that act that same way, and they're going to get drawn to you. If you have a high self-image, you're going to attract people of high self-image to you. It's the law of attraction, guys. So keeping that in mind, just run those things through your head, okay? Just some ways to change your self-image as I you know, close this video. There is always a room to improve and ways to overcome things. Some of the things that I put down were try new activities that promote positive mindsets. You know, therapy, it's a good one. You know, I'm going to my therapist tomorrow, who is my psychiatrist. We're going to talk about different ways for me to, you know, improve my medication, because like I said, I do have ADHD. I got some anxiety, but that's because of the ADHD. You know, it's an ADHD, for those of you who don't know, is it's a mental disorder where it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So I can either hyper focus on something or not give two shits about something, because not that I don't care, but because my mind isn't there. it's doing a million different other things. So just keeping that in mind, you know, I'm not perfect either, guys. Never will be. Never said I am. And I just want you guys to know that, because I think some people look at me and they're like, holy shit, this kid's life is all together. Guys, it's not. I'm still working through my master's program. I'm staying with my folks, making as much money as I possibly can before I get out of here. You know, once this master's program is over, I got, you know, good family, good health. I pray to God. You know, everything is all right, and everything should be all right with you guys too, okay? But I'm not perfect, so don't think I am, please. Some other things that I thought about too were just exercise. Exercise is a big one. Always being in the gym and, you know, staying healthy, staying fit. It's a good self-image, makes you look good, make you feel good. You know, that's how the saying goes: feel good, play good. You know, all that type of stuff. Talk to family members. Stay in touch with your families. Don't get disconnected. Family is the most important part of your life. If you don't, you know, have a good relationship with your family right now, stop getting in your head. Go talk to your parents. Go talk to your family members, okay? Because they care about you more than anybody else. And then lastly, consistently challenge yourself. Big one. Challenge yourself to do things that you might not otherwise do. Sometimes, you know, in life, God will present you with things and opportunities. Take advantage of them. For instance, I work at Enterprise. It's not anything I'm doing long term. It's a sales and management role. It's pretty cool. Actually, I get to learn a lot there. You know, pays pretty decently, not gonna lie. But, you know, as far as, you know, taking advantage of opportunities, I have met so many teachers through this job, and I've actually gotten a lot of opportunities through this job. The other day, I worked on New Year's Eve, okay? Because I'm a hustler. End of the day, I'm a hustler. Was in there working, whatever, 4-hour shift, because we're only open from 9 to 12. It's a 7-day operation. This dude comes in, he's talking. I'm in the back, just doing some back work. I'm listening. Says he's a teacher at Evanston Township. I pop up out of my seat. Oh, you're a teacher? No way. By chance, are you guys taking any student teachers in the near future? Yeah, man. What's your name? Blah, 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 blah. My name is blah, 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 blah. Here, let me call the department chair head right now and talk to her and let you know that, you know, let her know that you're interested and you want to come in and you want to talk to her and you want to meet her. I'm like, wow. Okay, great. Calls her right there on the spot in the store. And then right after, because obviously it's New Year's Eve, I'm thinking she's not going to pick up. She doesn't pick up. He leaves her a voicemail. And then he's like, here's my number. Give me a call on January 8th. We're going to set you up. You're going to be in there early. You're going to talk to her. And we're going to get you going, okay? You're going to suit and teach here. I'm like, wow. That's big time. Because the pay is there for that school. It's a very diverse student body. It's a good school. It's got good, you know, ratings. It's somewhere I'd love to teach. So, you know, and it's a hard school to get into if you don't have connections. So that right there is a way to connect and you know, give yourself an opportunity. You hear about things, you see people, just interact, have fun with things, man. You got one life to live. Why would you live it poorly? So that being said, thank you guys for tuning in today. You know, I'll catch up with you guys again next week. Maybe we'll go over a different topic, different, you know, area of, you know, whatever you guys want to talk about. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below, because I'd love to show you guys or talk to you guys about whatever. Before I end today's video, I'm going to just say a quick prayer to you. So in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. God, bless me, bless these people in front of this camera, that for whatever you guys are going through, that you guys see better days, and that you guys continue to grow as people. I pray that for each and every one of you, you live to be stronger, healthier, motivated, and avoid the temptations of the devil. I pray for everybody's families. I pray for everybody's, you know, well-being, and to see everyone be successful. And then also I will pray for everything happening overseas right now, and that we spread more peace, love, and joy, and happiness. With that being said, thank you, God. Amen. In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Notre Dame, pray for us. But yeah, so with that being said, I'm going to close out today's video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really excited to get after it this week. Got a couple of big things ahead of me. Not this week, but next week I start my classes again over at DePaul. So let's go. That's super hyped. And just work my butt off. Make more money. Money, 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 money. So yeah. And then, before I leave, boys, This one's for the boys. If you're a girl in here, that's fine too. But got a date, not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm gonna go ice skating downtown with this one girl that I know from Bradley University. She's a good girl. She's a nurse. She's really cool, actually. At least from what I've, heard and talked to her. So that should be fun. I'm excited, but I'm not going to talk about it too much. We'll wait to see what happens, but just want to let you know, leave you off on a cliffhanger. I will talk to you guys soon. Hey, everybody have a good week. Love ya. Peace.